Hi, and welcome back to the Sales Growth Showcase, where we share insights from today's top sales leaders so that you can make more money and be better connected to those you serve. Today, I am joined by Scott Feldman. Scott, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and how you impact others?
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me. Totally a pleasure. Appreciate the opportunity. My name is Scott Feldman. I'm a career SaaS sales representative, both in the sales and marketing world. My driver is really working with salespeople and marketers to help them see things that they may not have seen based on my experiences, and I share those with them.
Great. Well, let's dig right into it. I know you have some fantastic insights. If you're working with today's sales leaders, then I look forward to pulling out some of those insights, because there is certainly a lot going on in the world of sales today. So as you are working with your clients, what are some of the things that you're focusing on today to make sure that sales teams are growing sales in today's environment?
So when we talk about growing sales, I think one of the biggest challenges people have is they tend to take an approach of pray and spray, or they grab a list and they start targeting the list. The reality since COVID has set in is people's inboxes are absolutely jammed. And the easiest way, or at least one of the more effective ways to get access to someone's inbox and have meaning when you're in there, is to do it with video. Yeah, I know I'm biased, and that's totally understandable based on where I work. But I was a customer before I was an employee at my current employer, who's a video provider. But more importantly, you need to focus on the opportunity and what value you're going to be bringing to that particular individual. And video helps you get that message across.
Well, I am a big proponent of video and connecting via video. So I couldn't agree more that there's nothing like having, if we can't be there in person, then using video in order to build that connection is such a fantastic opportunity. Oh, what is, with everything going on in the around the world today, and especially in sales and leadership across industries, what is one big area of challenge that you're seeing that is preventing people or standing in the way of them being able to grow their sales?
I think time is the biggest issue. I don't know if people schedule their activities properly. It's one of the things that I work with my teams is block the time. So time is a fleeting resource that we have. There's never enough in the day. Obviously, in the summer, we want to spend time with our families. So if you're not spending the time to block or allocate what you need to get done, you're probably not finishing what you want to get done in a day or a week. So while there's never enough time, I always coach people on schedule those activities that are important to you, your A's, your B's, and your C's. And from there, you will be productive and you will be able to achieve what you're trying to get done in a day. But if you're not paying attention to time, you're going to go down rabbit holes. And when you go down those rabbit holes, you're not going to get things done, or you're only going to get half done. And that's just not productive, and it's not going to get the job done in sales.
Yeah, time management is so important. Do you have just a follow-up question? You said, adding structure. Is there something that you coach your clients to do as far as putting time on their calendar for something that's unexpected or we wouldn't normally put on our calendar? Is there something that you want us thinking about?
Yeah, there's a couple of things I'd actually recommend. First and foremost, if you're a seller and you don't block time Monday morning to plan your week and make sure that you are ready for your prospecting of your targets, you're doing yourself a disservice, because the reality is on Monday morning, all your prospects are in meetings anyway. So do yourself a favor and block out that time on Monday morning to make sure you're prepared for the week ahead. The other is I'd always caution people on to block time near the end of the week to make sure that you have hit all of your goals. So if you haven't set time up, by example, at the end of the day on Thursday or at the beginning of the day on Friday, to make sure that you're reaching what you need to achieve to have a successful week, then you're doing yourself a disservice by not planning properly. And that's the one bit of advice I would give people is plan, schedule. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes, you can move stuff, But on that Monday and that Friday, those are your times to be successful, and you need to block that out.
Fantastic. Start and finish the week right. I love that.
Absolutely.
How about the largest? We talked about some of the challenges, time management, it's something that I'm sure most people could use some improvement with. How about one of the bigger areas of opportunity, this new remote or virtual selling? What's one of the biggest areas of opportunity you see associated with that?
So I think two areas of opportunity presented themselves when we look at what COVID has done for work from home and hybrid models. The first is the ability that we no longer really have to commute as often as we were. Some people were commuting upwards of 12 plus hours a week. Those 12 hours are now being given back to people to actually put into their workday. So I encourage people all the time, and I'll give you a personal example. I now start my days at the same time I used to start my commute, but I'm now selling at that time. And that's a tremendous advantage that we have to no longer have to commute. So I always tell people, if you've gotten time back in your day, what are you doing to be productive with that time? And I really think the largest opportunities come from those that used to have to commute, that no longer commute, that have anywhere between 60 minutes to 120 minutes extra each day. And as a seller, that's a lot of time that you have to build in prospecting. And as a marketer, it's an additional time that you have to build out your reports and collect those data points. So I tell people all the time, now that you are no longer commuting, how have you filled that gap? And if you're not filling that gap with something that will drive value or opportunity for yourself, evaluate it again.
And not only the amount of time, so you reference like 12 hours that you get back to your day, but just imagine the amount of energy, because a commute most of the time is draining of energy. Not everybody goes or comes out of a commute feeling even more energized than when they started. So just the amount of energy that you get back, I love being very intentional with that of, okay, now that you have this time and you have this additional energy, what are you going to do with it? Make sure that you're using it intentionally, both in your business, I'm sure, as well as your personal life.
Oh, absolutely agree with that.
All right, now you meet somebody that introduces themselves. They say that they are new to sales. They're a new sales leader, and they want to make sure that they hit the ground running. They're highly successful. They come to you. You have an opportunity to pass on one nugget of advice. What would you pass on?
You know, it's funny. I tried to narrow this down to one, and I'm not going to keep it at one. I'm going to keep it at two.
All right.
But the first nugget I tell everyone, whether you're in sales or marketing, and this goes to someone who I will reference in just a moment. She calls it "show me you know me." I call it a higher level of personalization. The reality is if you are doing outreach and you are new to this, whether you're in marketing or you're in sales, you can't use blanketed generic messaging anymore. You need to take the time to actually dig down and show that you've done some research and that you actually know what this person does and what their drivers are. If you don't know that, do yourself a favor, don't reach out. You're burning your opportunity to connect with that person, whether it be next week, next month, next year. You will have a chance to connect with them. But if you don't make the connection meaningful or relevant, they're probably going to ignore you, especially today based on the noise that they have in their LinkedIn inbox, their personal inbox, their business inbox. Be kind, show that you've done some research, show that it's relevant for them. And if it's not, then they're probably not in your ICP, your prospect wheelhouse. The second is, and you know this, Mark, use video. If you want to stand out and you want to get known and you want to be recognized, send a video. There is no warmer way to create a one-to-one connection than using video. Doesn't mean you have to be selling. And I tell people all the time, your first 3 touches should never be about selling. They should be about creating a connection. So those are my 2 pieces of advice that I would give to someone if they were coming in and they were fresh.
Well, I love that you delivered with extra credit, 2 very important insights. Personalization, make sure that you show that you have taken the time to get to know that person to the extent, any and every extent possible. And then take it one step further by sending them a video message to really increase that connection. Thank you, Scott, for that. Oh, undoubtedly, you have people in your life that you've benefited from, and people in your network that may have additional insights to share with this program and with listeners. Is there anybody in your world that you'd like to mention that may be interested in coming out on the show and sharing some insights?
I have four shout outs. And
Right.
the reason I have four is I think each one of these people contributes to the community as a whole, sales, marketing, but more importantly, they're selfless. And today, we meet a lot of people who are selfish, and these four people are really selfless. So, Sam McKenna, if you're not familiar with Sam and you don't follow Sam's sales, you're doing yourself an injustice by not being tuned into what Sam is sharing in market. And she's an incredibly insightful individual. The other is Amy Volas. And if you're not following Amy, you're probably missing out there as well. Amy has some tremendous executive insight as well as some general sales insights that she shares on an ongoing basis. Both these ladies actually have their own websites, own businesses, and their own newsletters. So very easy to find them on LinkedIn, sign up, follow them. I'd highly recommend it. Now, two people that have had an impact in my career and continue to do so. One is Chad Malco, and he's for me, a tremendous mentor. I've watched Chad not only grow his own personal career, but he's the go-to guy, the CRO that most startups bring on in order to scale their organizations. I can't tell you how much I've learned from Chad, other than to say we're 10 years and change where I've been working with him, and he continues to coach me and mentor me and help me in my career. The last is Dennis Malaspina. I've worked for Dennis twice, 3 times. Dennis is just one of those leaders you want to follow around. He is a selfless coach. He will always work with you to help you understand where you can become a better person and a better contributor. And those four people have helped shape my career, and I continue to follow them and work with them. And I'd encourage anyone who's watching today, take a moment to follow Sam and Amy. They're game changers in your career if you're not already following them.
Well, thank you so much for mentioning them. I'm not sure that I am connected to Sam or Amy. I'll have to verify, but make sure that if, regardless of whether I am or not, it's obvious that I need to warm up that connection and benefit from it. And I appreciate you mentioning other people in your life that you've benefited from, and I look forward to connecting with them.
Awesome.
Scott, thanks so much for coming on the Sales Growth Showcase, sharing your insights. We really appreciate it. Clearly, the contributions on understanding both the challenges as well as the tremendous opportunity going on in the market today. It's sure to benefit all of us that are watching and listening. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Mark, many thanks for having me today. Appreciate the opportunity.
Great. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to another episode. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe so that you are notified of upcoming episodes. And until next time, I wish for you invincible success.